this very box.
Hello guys, welcome back to Vulcus. Today's video we're going to be looking at a brand new addition to my Halo Mega Constructs collection, although the set itself is not brand new, and it is however very exciting. I'm thrilled to bring you this, the UNSC Broadsword. Now if you don't remember this vehicle, then you could be forgiven for that. It is from Halo 4. And if you have played that game, if you remember I believe it's the final level, or leading up to the final level, where Chief gets into this vehicle to attack the Didact ship, destroys all those turrets and stuff, and then flies inside. Excuse me, and this is that very vehicle. So, as you can see here, we have the cockpit, which will open up to reveal Master Chief himself, who does come with this set. The figures are spectacular with this set. We will go over those after we have looked at the vehicle. Just remove him from the cockpit there. So first of all, we will focus on the broadsword itself. So this is essentially the upgraded, or well, I say upgraded in quotations because that's really down to opinion, but the newer version of the its older brother, which you will remember if you've played Halo Reach, which is the UNSC Saber, which I do own the version of right here. Now this is actually quite a bit larger than the broadsword, if I can really compare them side by side, which may be a little difficult to do. Let's have a go. Here we are. So, if you can see here, one next to each other, the Saber is actually considerably larger than the broadsword is. However, obviously the Saber has these pieces on here for the launching. Obviously one of them's come off there. It's somewhere in my cabinet, but this is the real function of the broadsword, to be the replacement for the Saber, because Halo Reach was the first Halo game which really let you control a flying vehicle in space, and the broadsword basically replicated that in Halo 4, where you were attacking the Didact ship. So if we have a look at the vehicle itself here, the design is, people are mixed on the design, with the sort of hump here in the middle. I actually think it looks quite good. A lot of people don't like it very much, but you can actually remove this entire piece just here. This is a nice feature of the set. You can remove this entire part to reveal the storage area here, which holds 2 missiles, which are ammo for the wing-mounted launchers, which do actually shoot. I'll get to that. And they also hold this, which is a very simple little piece with studs here to basically put weapons on. So you have a little weapon storage place here, little storage silo, I suppose you'd call it. So let me just put this piece back on. It's very simple to remove and replace. Just click it on and it's done. So a few things to note when you're building this thing. First of all, the cockpit is actually pretty difficult to put on properly. Well, at least I had that problem. It was very fiddlesome to actually make it properly move up and down like this. Most of the times I tried at first, it would simply just click on and then pop off if you tried to move it, but after some effort it is properly on now. So you can simply get your thumb under the little hole here and just lift it up there like that, and there is no actual seat in there, it's just studs, if you can see that there. So you can just put a minifigure in there in the sitting position and then close it and click it down onto the studs there. So the wings here do not move, unlike on the Pelican for example. These wings don't move. However, there are a lot of flaps which you can manipulate. These back pieces here do actually entirely move up and down, and on them these flaps can be independently moved here on both wings. One nice thing to note is that unfortunately, while this set does have a lot of stickers, you can actually, it includes a little set of decals. Can't see it very well here, but this is actually a skull. Let me try adjusting the lighting real quick. See if that helps, but a skull right there, skull and crossbones, is what I chose. There are many decals, so you can completely customize this thing to your individual taste. Other things that you can move around, we have these flaps right here on both sides. And then on the underside of the broadsword, there's a lot of building that goes on underneath this thing, to be honest. As you can see, it's quite detailed under here. We have these mounted machine guns, which you can move up and down and forward and backwards. So those are quite cool. They don't really swivel. Well, they do, but not too easily because of the way they're mounted. And then we have these flaps here, which again you can move around. They do have stickers on there. And then at the back, you can see here, if you do have the saber, you'll probably see it's quite familiar with the bigger thrusters and the smaller ones here on the back. To be honest, that's the majority of the actual play features itself. Apart from obviously the main one, which are the missiles here, and they do shoot. So I will attempt to demonstrate that without having them go flying a million miles across the room. To actually launch the missiles, you simply push this piece here. It's a 2x2 piece, and you just push it back, and it will launch the missile across. I'll show that again with the other side. So you can see here we have the it's quite a small missile here, and you just push this back, and there we go. Wow, it's actually quite powerful. That one just fired so hard that it bounced off my door and then came back and hit me on the arm. So, it's quite powerful actually. They go a fair distance. Alright, so that's actually the majority of the broadsword itself. It's obviously a very nice, quite a large flying vehicle that will, a lot of smaller collections, this will become a, a staple. This will be one of the first things that will draw people's eyes. And if you have a larger collection, then it's still a very nice thing to have. And it is, regardless of your opinions on the design, it is a unique design. So it probably will draw attention that way. The last thing I want to cover quickly is this stand here. So this is a transparent stand, which honestly these transparent pieces are a bit of a pain in the arse during the build because you have to move them around and construct different temporary pieces to hold parts up. But once you've gotten to the end and you've taken them all apart and rebuilt this stand, it's very nice because it works a bit differently to some of the other stands I've had on Mega Construx vehicles. So these slanted pieces here actually slot in on the bottom of the ship. You can see here there's these slopes, and these will actually slide in quite nicely here, and then it's quite sturdy actually, sturdier than you might expect. You can easily, it's on a flat surface, you can easily just rotate this around and it won't just wobble or fall off the stand. So it's a surprisingly simple yet sturdy stand. That was a bit of a mouthful. So yeah, there we go. And I will show this on a flat surface so you can better understand how good the stand is essentially. But that is the majority of the broadsword itself. Very nice vehicle, very grey, but definitely not boring. The gold really does stand out, and as for accuracy to the game, it is pretty accurate. I haven't really noticed any major disparities from the game. Then again, I only looked at an image of this recently, and I haven't played Halo 4's level with this in for ages, so when I next do that, I will be sure to compare it to this version. So that's the broadsword, very good vehicle, and I think we'll move on to, despite how amazing this vehicle is, the main draw of this set to a lot of collectors is the absolutely amazing figures. Just quickly before we move on here is the broadsword on its stand. As you can see, you can rotate it around, admire it from pretty much any angle you want, and even mess with the cockpit. Get that opened and seat a figure inside. Basically, you can mess around with this and do almost anything you want to, really, while it's mounted on this very nice stand. So, let's move on now to the figures. So, as I was saying earlier, the figures are actually the standout aspect of this set for a lot of people, and it's pretty easy to see why once you get a look at them. The first one is a pretty big deal, actually. Keep in mind this set was released in 2014, and that was actually the year that the integrated armor system was introduced for the very first time. Before that, there were a few official Master Chief figures, such as the one from the PAX Warthog from 2011, I think. And the one from the Forward Unto Dawn, as well as the one from the Cryo Base set, which is the only non-articulated Chief that I have currently. However, this was the first Master Chief figure to actually be, I believe, to be named on the box, apart from the Cryo Base figure, although I may be wrong about that. And it is definitely the first Chief figure with the new armor system. So obviously this is based on the Halo 4 design, and it does, to me, look really, really good. One of my favourite parts about this particular Chief, this exact individual one actually, is interesting because it has a dark green, sort of metallic, shiny helmet, and then the rest of the body is the correct colour it's supposed to be from this set, which is sort of a more plain, lighter green colour. So this head actually reminds me of the Polybag Chief, so I don't know if there was some kind of mix up there with that, but I'm fine with it, to be honest. And then right here we have the scar on the armor, which is not, I don't think it's based on a particular moment from the game, it's just accurate to how it looked in the game. And it's pretty cool that they included that little detail, because to be honest, without it, as cool as this figure is, it would be a bit undetailed, a bit bland without that. People still do think that this could do with a bit more detail, and I kind of agree to an extent, because this set retailed for about £50, so it certainly wasn't cheap. So I'm sure a lot of people, when they bought this, would be expecting premium figures, and this is a very nice figure to get, and at the time it was, I think, the only way to get a Chief in new articulated armour. Obviously that's changed now, there are many ways to get him, but it is still a very nice figure, and I'm not really going to complain about it. It is very good. Although the other two figures in the set actually outshine that Master Chief. As nice as that Chief is, honestly, these two figures are really what makes this set worth getting. If you're a fan of figures, that is, because look at this right here. This is the first Cortana figure we ever got since the, I think it was 2012 or something, Series 4 minifigure packs. So the Series 4 minifigure packs Cortana was completely transparent blue, such as she is in the early Halo games. And while it was a very good figure, it was also very hard to get. So a lot of people, including me, and I did try, I put a lot of money into those packs to try and get a Cortana, but I was quite young back then, and I didn't actually fully understand how I could maximize my potential of getting one. But anyway, this Cortana has the new printing, and it is very, very nice printing there. As you can see, there's a lot of game accurate detail. If you can see, all over the body, and especially on the face, I think they did a really, really good job with such a small figure of capturing all of the main details that make Cortana stand out as a character. Now, as you can see, her arm here is bent in this position. You can't actually unbend it, however you can move both of her arms around to any real display positions you want. Everything else functions normally, though. You can detach the head if you want to. And the legs are, although they are small, they're like the old Cortana with normal legs, so obviously those are removable. There you go. So this is a really, really good figure, and honestly it's one of my favourite figures I own now, actually, because it's just so nice and so well detailed. But it's not actually my favourite figure from the set. There is one more figure that absolutely makes this set 100% worth it to any real collector of... Basically, this makes it a must-have for Mega Construx collectors, and that is this guy. Seriously, he's so big I can't even fit him into the shot with my camera right now. I have to tilt it up. There we go. This is the Didact, Shadow of Standard Star, the Didact, whatever you want to call him. He is the main villain in Halo 4, and this is still, as of 2019, as I'm recording this, the only way to get a Didact figure. So this is one of the main draws to this set as a collector, because as nice as the Cortana and Chief are, there are other ways to get those two characters. The Didact is unique to this set, and unique as a figure. In terms of size, he's actually just a bit taller than a Promethean Knight. Even the battle wagon is shorter than him, which of course does make sense. And in terms of accuracy to the games with his size, I think it's actually really accurate, because he does seem about 2 times the height of Chief, at least in the games, and then in Mega Bloks form, I'd say that's about accurate, because if you think about it, when he's got Chief in the air, he seems about at this height, you'd say. So pretty accurate sizing compared to a regular Mega Bloks figure as well. And yeah, you can actually position the arms out in a way that you can hold the Chief like under his chin and hold him up. It kind of looks like he's doing the thing he does in the games with the telekinesis. But just look at this guy. The head can be attached like normal, so can the arms and legs. This piece here is not removable, but honestly, they did a really good job of recreating the Didact's floating or hovering, whatever, armor pieces for nanotechnology without making it look really weird or adding a lot to the figure to make it look any more like it's floating. They did a really good job, is what I'm trying to say. The head looks amazing, sculpting, the colouring, everything on this figure looks really good, and it can be posed pretty nicely as well. You might think with such a large figure that posing would be very limited, but you can pretty much pose it the same as you could figures in the old articulation system. It can pretty much stand on base plates as well, with the 1x2 feet pieces there. So it's actually he's actually easier to pose than a regular hunter is. So all in all, this is just a really good figure, to be honest. I don't think this set would be anywhere near as good if they didn't include him in it. It's just printing everywhere. The armor pieces he has on his legs. They just, I don't see, there aren't many ways they could have made this figure much better, to be honest. So he is a pretty big boon to getting this set. So these are the 3 figures, the Didact, Cortana and Chief, and honestly they add a ton to this set and make it the awesome piece for collectors and just anyone that it is. If I try and stand them all up here. Yeah, whatever. So yeah. Overall, I'd say the Broadsword is very worthwhile. The excellent figures and the also very nice game-accurate vehicle, as you can see here. Yeah, let's grab the stand. And the stand is a very nice inclusion, because a lot of the bigger vehicles, like the Pelican and stuff, both versions of it actually, well, any version that I've seen doesn't include a stand. A lot of the vehicles don't include stands to display them with, which can be quite annoying. But this is a very helpful inclusion here. So yeah, as for pricing, which you might be wondering, this is an old set and it was expensive, so how ridiculous of an amount of money did I pay for this? Well, I actually got it on a really good deal on eBay for about 30-35 quid, which is ridiculous, to be honest. That's half the RRP, and this is a 5-year-old set. So yeah, you'll be very lucky if you get it for a deal like I did. On average, I'd say expect to pay anywhere between about £80 and £120. I know that is very expensive, but like I say, this is old. And it's a big collector's piece as well because of that Didact figure. And of course, it's the only way to get the Broadsword. So yeah, Would I recommend this set for that price? I'd say yes, but only if you really want it. If you're, if you're on the edge and you'd have to pay like £130 and you're not sure if it's worth it, then I'd say maybe hold your fire until you're sure, to be honest. But if you know, like I did, that you really, really want this set, the Didact, all the other figures, and that broadsword really draw you in, then I'd say it is worth it for any price. I'd say like under 150 quid or something ridiculous like that. So yeah, thank you for watching this review. I know it was a bit rambly in places, but I'm kind of under a bit of a time constraint to film this right now, and I thought I'd just get a review for it out there. And yeah, there are more reviews for Mega Constructs coming, including the Saber and Countdown, which you saw in this video, Phantom, Pelican, and I will also do some army updates and figure videos, which will actually be much easier to do than vehicle related videos, because I can pretty much review those anytime, and these are only at a display cabinet at my current location now. So, sorry for rambling at you again, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in whatever I make next.